meeting. Dr. Alicea, who's the chair, will start the meeting.
Welcome to our first meeting of 2024 of the Board of Trustees of the New York State Higher Education Service Corporation. Seeing that we have a quorum, this meeting is called to order. First, I'd like to extend my appreciation to the Department of Financial Services in Albany and the City University of New York here in New York City for the use of the facilities for this meeting. Joining me at CUNY's central office are fellow board members Salimatu Doumbouya, who may be here shortly, Chairperson, University Student Senate of the City University of New York, Mark Jerome, President of Monroe College, Alexander Ruiz, President of SUNY Student Assembly at SUNY Geneseo, and Renee Sarmiento, Vice Chancellor for Enrollment Management at CUNY, who is CUNY Chancellor Felix Matos Rodriguez designee. We're also joined by Deputy Secretary for Education Maria Fernandez from Governor Hochul's office, along with agency leadership here in New York, Dr. Guillermo Linares, HESC President, Doris Gonzalez, Executive Vice President, and Dora Diaz-Crow, Director of the Audit Division. In Albany, at the Department of Financial Services, our board members Becky Maxson, Deputy Director for Compliance and Policy at Cornell University, David Harris, President of Union College, William Murphy, Deputy Commissioner for Higher Education at the New York State Education Department, representing Commissioner Betty Rosa. Patricia Thompson, Assistant Vice Chancellor, Student Financial Aid at the State University of New York, representing Chancellor John King, Jr. And our newest board member, Janessa Perez, who is a student at Cornell University, is joining us via live stream from a private location due to extraordinary circumstances. Welcome, Janessa. Happy to have you with us. The HESC staff at Albany include Naisha Alcina, General Counsel and Board Secretary, Ellen Krejci, Associate Attorney and Ethics Officer, and Kayla Devine, Director of Finance. We're also joined remotely by Frank Ballman, Director of Federal Relations. In today's meeting, we will be addressed by HESC staff who will provide agency updates. And as you will hear today, HESC has been busy at work, as always, with helping individuals pay for college. Since we last met in December, a lot has happened, including the enactment of a state budget, the rollout of additional HESC programs, and a new HESC website. After that, I will turn it over to Mr. Jerome, Chair of the Audit Committee, and then we will have a proposed resolution to address with respect to new regulations for the District Attorney and Indigent Legal Services Attorney Loan Forgiveness Program. That will be presented by the Board Secretary. But our first order of business is to approve the minutes of the December 7, 2023 meeting of the Board of Trustees. May I please have a motion to approve the minutes of December 7, 2023?
So moved.
Mark Jerome moved.
May I have a second? May I have a second?
We need a second.
A second.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. If not, I'll call for the vote. All in favor of approving the minutes, please raise your hands.
Here in New York City, Renee Sarmiento, Dr. Alicea, and Mark Jerome.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries, and the minutes are adopted without change.
Dr. Alicea, excuse me, I just want to correct the record that Salimatu Doumbouya is not yet here, and Maria Fernandez is not yet here. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I now ask Dr. Linares to proceed with the HESC President's report.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Alicea. Good morning. Thank you.
It's on.
It's on.
I did it.
Good morning. Thank you to everyone here in New York City and those joining us in Albany. I appreciate your continued dedication to HESC, New York State government, and HESC mission to bring higher education opportunities within reach for all New York State students. HESC has been very busy of late on several important initiatives, as the chair has indicated. Let me begin with TAP program updates. The fiscal year 2025 budget increased TAP funding to support significant enhancement that will benefit approximately 93,000 students, including 48,000 students newly eligible for TAP. Starting in the 2024-25 academic year, the minimum TAP award will increase from $500 to $1,000. Dependent students' net taxable income NTI limit will increase from $80,000 to $125,000. Independent married student NTI limit will increase from $40,000 to $60,000. Independent single student NTI limit will increase from $10,000 to $30,000. Governor Hochul's budget also expands part-time TAP to proprietary colleges. This change is estimated to benefit about 1,230 students in proprietary colleges. Moving on to the newly issued TAP difference report. In April, Governor Hochul announced his groundbreaking study, the New York State TAP difference report. This report highlights the significant role that TAP played in broadening college access, completion, and fostering educational equity, particularly among low-income families and first-generation college students, including that more TAP recipients earn a bachelor's degree within 6 years compared to students who did not receive TAP. TAP recipients were twice as likely to begin college at a 4-year institution and 2 times more likely to complete their education at a 4-year institution. And 60% of TAP recipients in 2013 and 2014 completing their 4-year degrees in 6 years compared to 26% who did not receive TAP. The report is an affirmation of New York's commitment to creating and sustaining avenues to support academic success across diverse students' demographics and socioeconomic statuses. Shifting now to Universal FAFSA completion and Financial Aid Awareness Month, the enacted budget requires that beginning in 2025-26 academic year, schools ensure every high school senior completes the FAFSA or the New York State DREAM Act application or sign a waiver form indicating that they are aware of available financial aid but choose not to pursue it. Last year, New York's high school students left over $225 million in federal aid unclaimed by not filling out the FAFSA or FAFSA submission rates, and FAFSA submission rates were down by 24% in New York. In support of universal FAFSA completion, Governor Hochul declared April as New York State Financial Aid Awareness Month to help inform students and families of the importance of completing the free application and the New York State financial aid options available. Has worked with the governor's office to draft a letter from the governor that was emailed to each New York State high school senior to encourage them to complete their FAFSA application and take advantage of financial aid and resources available. Has launched a multifaceted outreach campaign to support universal FAFSA completion, including hosting hosting events designed to aid students in completing the application, social media campaigns, the creation of a one-stop hub, FAFSA Ready, and has partnered with New York State agency partners and businesses to promote awareness. Moving on to the Healthcare Workers for Our Future Scholarship, HESC was proud to collaborate with the governor's office on the launch of the Healthcare Worker for Our Future Scholarship, which launched on April 30th and is open through June 24th. This program provides 500 selected students with 2-year scholarship to cover the cost of tuition, room and board, and fees to pursue an associate or bachelor's degree as a registered nurse, respiratory therapist, clinical laboratory technologist, radiologic technologist, or surgical technologist in exchange for a commitment to work in a healthcare facility located in a high-needs area for 2 years after graduation. The objective of the Healthcare Workers for Our Future Scholarship extends beyond financial assistance. It is a testament of New York's dedication to cultivating a healthcare workforce prepared to meet our current challenges. And finally, to the modernization of HESC website. I'm proud to share that our new HESC website officially launched yesterday. I would like to share a short video that highlights some of the new features.
HESC is proud to introduce our newly designed website. To ensure we built and delivered a site that was valuable to our users, HESC conducted interviews, focus groups, and surveys, which resulted in feedback from more than 2,000 students, parents, counselors, and financial aid professionals, providing insights that would shape the site's look and feel.
Can they see it? Doesn't matter.
Yeah. Frank can, so it's gotta be on Judy's side.
Yeah,
Doris,
if
it
we
looks
could
like
put-
it's on Judy's side.
Yeah, I know, we're trying to figure that out on this end. Hold on. I think what we'll do is we're going to just keep going with the agenda, and when we get the tech support here, we'll interrupt. Perhaps we could do it right after the federal update,
Okay,
okay? We'll do it after the federal update. By then, we'll have somebody back up here, okay?
I will
It
continue.
did work before, I promise you.
I will continue. The transformation of our website aligns with our strategic objective to enhance the overall accessibility and efficiency of our online resources and our commitment to provide students, families, and the educational professionals with user-friendly tools and resources. In closing, HESC remains committed to supporting students in their pursuit of higher education. The work we do here at HESC is a pledge to serve, to aid, and to champion the dreams and aspirations of every student. Together with your support, we can continue to create pathways for our students to reach their higher education goals. Thank you again for your continued support. I will now turn it back to our chair, Dr. Victor Alicea.
Thank you, Dr. Linares. Thank you very much. I'd like to say that we are joined by Salimatu Doumbouya, who's the chairperson, the University Student Senate of the City University of New York. Welcome. And And Maria Fernandez is here. Of course. Wonderful to see you.
Good to see you
Good
as
to,
well.
wonderful. Great, great. Um, I now ask Ellen Krejci, HESC's Associate Attorney and Ethics Officer, to proceed with her report.
Good morning, Board of Trustees. As Chairman Elisea mentioned, I am Ellen Krejci, Associate Attorney and Ethics Officer. I'm here to serve as a resource to you on how to navigate your ethical obligations as HESC board members. For those of you who are new to the board, here is some more background on my role. Every state agency is required to have an ethics officer. As ethics officer at HESC, my duties include providing employees and board members guidance on the ethical laws and policies that apply to them, managing the agency's financial disclosure statement filer list, coordinating ethics training for employees and board members in conjunction with the Commission on Ethics and Lobbying in Government, and maintaining ethics training records for the agency. As members of HESC's Board of Trustees, you have 3 specific ethics-related obligations. You are required to, first, file an annual financial disclosure statement. Second, complete an annual ethics course. And finally, abide by the Code of Ethics in Public Officers Law, Section 74. As you may remember from my previous email to you and the memo in the board packet, the annual financial disclosure statements for 2023 are due today. If you have not yet filed that, please let me know before you leave today. You can apply for a 45-day extension of the deadline for good cause or hardship, but you must submit your application requesting an extension today in order for it to be approved. You can submit an extension through the FDS online filing system or by mailing a signed application form to the Commission on Ethics and Lobbying in Government. Please see me afterward. I have those forms for you if necessary. Second, as a board member, you are required to complete annual ethics refresher training. The refresher course may be taken online by registering on the statewide learning management system. You will need a newyork.gov account to register. I will follow up via email with more details on how to register and will serve as a resource to you on any ethics-related questions you may have. Those who are new to the board will need to complete live online training through Commission on Ethics and Lobbying in Government, which can be done remotely through WebEx. Again, I will follow up via email with more details on how to register. Your final obligation as a board member is to abide by the Code of Ethics and Standards of Conduct that are part of Public Officers Law, Section 74. The Code of Ethics is intended to prevent you from misusing your official position or authority. It aims to prevent actual conflicts of interest, as well as the appearance of a conflict, when performing your state duties. The annual ethics training classes will go into more depth on this. Lastly, I wanted to provide a brief update on HESC's ethics activities since our last meeting. In February, we issued an updated ethics and fraud policy to align with current legal and regulatory standards. Our new policy requires all HESC employees to submit a questionnaire annually about their outside activities to ensure that there are no conflicts of interest. Thank you for your attention to this important matter, and now I will turn it back to Chairman Elisea.
Thank you, Ellen. I'll now ask Frank Baldwin, HESC's Director of Federal Relations, to proceed with his federal report.
Good morning, everyone. When we last met, we were filled in early December with the promise of the new FAFSA and all of the benefits that it brings students. Today, we're filled with hopes that we have gotten past the bad parts and are getting on to the good parts of FAFSA. Nationally, 35.6% of high school seniors have filled out a FAFSA. I would say that New York is doing much better at almost 40% complete. This is through April 26th. The other good news for New York students is that because HESC long ago chose to have an independent need calculation for CAP, all of the issues you hear about with reprocessing ICERs at other schools in other states because of IRS issues or school list issues do not apply in New York. So we're sort of ahead of the curve in that regard. Speaking of being ahead of the curve, there is a new student aid internet gateway agreement that we signed, and we signed it early last week. So we are now able to start sharing FAFSA completion data with our partners such as Gear Up and TRIO organizations. And so essentially we're able to try and identify high school seniors that still have not filled out the FAFSA and try and help them get across the finish line. The other quick update I will do is to say that the maximum Pell Grant will be unchanged for the upcoming school year at $7,395, same as the current year. And student loan interest rates will be unfortunately going up quite a bit. The loans for the upcoming academic year will be as low as 6.53% for Stafford and as high as 9.08% for Grad Plus and Parent Plus loans. I could go into detail for the next half hour on FAFSA issues, but I think it'd probably be better at this point for me to pause and ask the board if they have questions or areas where they'd like me to take a deeper dive. One last thing I'll say about FAFSA is Friday, the department announced that the ability or paper FAFSAs would not be processed until sometime in June, probably by the end of June. And also the ability of schools to make corrections to students' aid calculations will also not be available at the end of June. So I'd say that's bad news, but that's sort of where we stand. So with that, I open up to questions. I ask that someone in Albany and or New York City introduce who is asking the question.
Any questions, board members? Thank you, Frank. Thank you very much. I now ask Mark Jerome, our Audit Committee Chair, to proceed with his report.
Dr. Alicea, excuse me, we were going to try to do the video right after Frank.
Oh,
If
okay.
that's okay?
As long as Frank can hold on.
Mark, are you okay?
Mark will hold
Okay,
on.
they will confirm with us if we can see the screen, which we currently cannot. No, we cannot see the screen. We're going to try to redial the call.
Oh. What happened? We just go over there.
Oh, you heard it right.
Oh, the pressure of this video being.
We see a white screen now.
Oh, that's it. That's it. That's good.
HESC is proud to introduce our newly designed website.
Okay, good.
To ensure we built and delivered a site that was valuable to our users, HESC conducted interviews, focus groups, and surveys, which resulted in feedback from more than 2,000 students, parents, counselors, and financial aid professionals, providing insights that would shape the site's look and feel. With a fresh new homepage and better navigation, the act of finding financial aid is now simpler, granting the ability to browse by category or topic. Our redesigned events page allows visitors to filter events based on a category or date, making it easier to find events on a specific day. and an improved mobile site for visitors viewing on their tablet or smartphone. Currently, 55% of our visitors use our mobile site to get their information. HESC's website is a critical tool to help New York students, parents, and HESC's academic partners easily access vital financial aid information and resources. Visit our website at hesc.ny.gov to see all the new and exciting changes.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you very
There's
much.
lots of claps here.
Good claps. Okay, we now turn back to Mark for his report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm pleased to present this report on behalf of the HESC Board of Trustees Audit Committee, which consists of Dr. David Harris, who's in Albany, Dr. Manny Rivera, who couldn't be with us, but he was a very active participant, and myself. On Wednesday, May 1st, we held a meeting of the Audit Committee along with HESC staff. HESC's Audit Director, Dora Diaz-Crow, who sits right next to me, shared the agency's plans as it relates to HESC's internal and external audits that impact state funds and agency operations. And Kayla Devine, HESC Director of Finance, provided an update on the financials of the agency. In addition, we met Jeremy Hayes, HESC's Internal Controls Officer, who recently joined the agency with over 25 years of accounting and auditing experience. Jeremy has been very busy at work beginning the process of assessing HESC's internal controls throughout all units, while also conducting agency-wide trainings on general internal controls principles. I will share with you now some of the highlights of that meeting, as well as the key points of the finance report provided by Ms. Devine. So first, grants and scholarships. HESC grants and scholarships are supported by the state's general fund. This year's 24-25 funding level of HESC is at an even $1 billion. While this is a decrease of $120 million from last year's 23-24 funding levels, this reduction generally aligns with HESC's 24-25 budget request and represents a realignment between funding levels and actual anticipated participation in HESC programs. It also reflects the impact of the TAP changes in this year's enacted budget. In addition to the TAP changes in income limit and minimum awards that Dr. Linares mentioned in his report, other changes in the 24-25 enacted budget include additional funding for these scholarship programs. The first is an additional $1 million for the Patricia K. McGee Scholarship for a total of $4.9 million. That is a graduate nursing program scholarship. $50,000 for New York State Young Farmers Loan Forgiveness Program for a total of $200,000, and $100,000 for the New York State Child Welfare Scholarship for a total of $150,000. Now I'll give a brief administration and finance update. HESC ended the 23-24 year with a balance of $81.5 million, a decrease of $1.2 million from the beginning of 2023. Revenue totaled $27.9 million, due reimbursement of default aversion fees, $3 million, and the reimbursement of lost revenue by US DOE due to the pause of collections, that was $24.9 million. HESC will no longer receive reimbursement of lost revenue beginning in the 24-25 year. Total disbursements for 23-24 were $29.2 million, which accounted for personal service and benefits, non-personal services, and transfers. During the 24-25 year, HESC operating expenses are anticipated to increase from 23-24, largely due to filling vacant positions as HESC works to reach its full-time equivalency target of 100 employees. Due to HESC's exit from FELP, HESC will rely on its existing special revenue fund balance until it is exhausted, at which point HESC will transition to general fund support. This is anticipated for 26-27. Next, I'll turn to the HESC Audit Director's update on the 23-24 and 24-25 audit plans. Out of the 17 audits that were planned for 23-24, 7 were completed, 4 are in progress and will be completed in May, and 5 have not been started due to division process changes, and actually 1 was canceled. In 24-25, the internal audit unit will perform 9 audits, 5 of which are carryovers from last year. The IT audit unit will perform 5 IT audits, and the external audit unit will focus on auditing Chapter 22 schools, as well as auditing Gear Up subgrantees for grant compliance. In addition, planning is underway to determine the number of external audits as the unit is not fully staffed, but HESC is expecting between 5 and 10 additional audits. After every audit, corrective actions are monitored by the audit department, strengthening the operations of the agency. There are currently 56 recommendations related to the 23-24 audit plan. The audit division is working with the various divisions to ensure implementation of these recommendations and will report back. Thank you. That is my report. Let me know if you have any questions, and we turn it back to Chairman Alicia.
Are there any questions from any of the board members? If not, thank you very much, Mark, for that fine report. Now I turn it over to Anisha Alsina, HESC General Counsel and Board Secretary, to provide a report concerning proposed regulations for our discussion and vote.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We expected the enactment of the New York State budget to require us to draft regulations related to changes in the law that impacted HESC. However, none of the enacted laws that amended the tuition assistance program that you have heard about today require regulatory changes. Nevertheless, in the process of reviewing our existing regulations for other programs that HESC administers, we have learned that the regulations of the District Attorney and Indigent Legal Services Attorney Loan Forgiveness Program have expired. As a result, we look to you today to help make these regulations permanent. While the proposed regulations were voted on by this body in 2014, we have no record that the regulations were advanced through the State Administrative Procedure Act to be made permanent. Therefore, in an abundance of caution, we are bringing them to this Board of Trustees for consideration for a vote again. As way of background, the District Attorney and Indigent Legal Services Attorney Loan Forgiveness Program awards are offered for the purpose of increasing the number of experienced attorneys serving in the position of district attorneys or indigent legal services attorneys throughout New York State. In order to be eligible for this loan repayment program, an applicant must be a U.S. citizen or an eligible non-citizen, be a New York State resident or meet the New York State DREAM Act eligibility criteria for residency, have worked full-time as a DA, assistant DA, or indigent legal services attorney in New York State for at least 3 years, but no more than 9 years, and have an outstanding balance on an eligible student loan debt. Be in a non-default status on a student loan made under any New York State or federal education loan program or repayment of any New York State award, and be in compliance with the terms of any service condition imposed by New York State award. As provided by statute, the maximum award is $20,400 or the applicant's actual eligible student loan indebtedness at the time eligibility is established, whichever is less. Awards are paid in the amount of $3,400 for each annual period of qualified service or the amount of remaining loan indebtedness if less than $3,400. Payments are available for up to 6 years of qualified service. While the statute is pretty thorough, there is a need to fill gaps through regulation in order to properly administer the program. For instance, the law provides that an eligible attorney must be employed full-time, but does not define what that means. The proposed regulations provide full-time employment is 35 hours per calendar week. This definition is also used in the regulations for other loan repayment programs, such as the Licensed Social Worker Loan Forgiveness Program. The law provides that temporary leave shall not be considered in calculation of qualified service. However, there is no definition of temporary leave in law, yet there are many ways to define these terms. In drafting this proposed regulation, we considered clarity, ease of enforcement, and what we consider a sound policy position that an eligible attorney who is on paid leave, vacation or similar leave, or a leave without pay for a short duration is still employed, and that time should be counted as qualified service. Thus, the proposed regulations provide that a temporary leave is more than 2 months unpaid leave during which an eligible attorney performs no attorney duties. So, on to the current resolution. This resolution would authorize HESC to take all necessary actions to propose these regulatory changes, including any action to publish in the state register and permanently adopt the regulatory changes after the public comment period. If you vote to pass this resolution today, HESC will move forward with filing the proposed regulations, which requires that HESC make available a 60-day public comment period before the regulations are adopted. For anyone watching today who is interested in submitting comments, you can find information as to how to submit your comments on our website at hesc.ny.gov. So, Mr. Chairman, unless there are any questions, I turn it back to you to consider entertaining a motion to adopt the resolution at hand.
Thank you, Nasa. I'm going to need a motion to adopt Resolution 2024-1, directing HESC to proceed with the filing of regulations and proposed rulemaking concerning the non-degree workforce tuition assistance program.
Oh, sorry.
So moved.
Okay.
I'm sorry. One correction. It's actually for the district attorney and loan forgiveness. District attorney and Indian Legal Services Attorney Loan Forgiveness Program. Is the resolution before you?
Right. Do I have a second?
I actually was just correcting the record. You still need the motion. Does anyone hear?
Yeah.
Move?
So I moved it.
Mark Jerome moved.
Jerome moved.
Did anybody in Albany second?
Yes, President David Harris,
Okay.
seconded.
Any discussion? If not, I'll call for the vote. All in favor of the resolution, please raise your hands.
Here in New York City, we have Renee Sarmiento, Salimato Dumbuya, Dr. Alicea, and Mark Jerome.
Here in Albany, we have Patricia Thompson, Becky Maxon, David Harris, and William Murphy. And I see that Board Member Janessa Perez is also voting in the affirmative.
Any abstentions? Well, I'm pleased to report that the resolution to implement the District Attorney and Indigent Legal Services Attorney Loan Forgiveness Program carries.
Thank you.
Okay. I'll now move to the Leadership Council. Does anyone from the Leadership Council wish to address the board? Does anyone from the public present in New York City wish to address the board? Thank you very much. According to our bylaws, we're required to schedule our next board meeting. Now, please save the date for December 4, 2024 at 10 a.m. Do I have a motion to bring this meeting to a close?
So moved. I'm the mover.
Mark Jerome moved.
Do I have a second? All right. Any discussion? If not, I'll call for the vote. All in favor to adjourn this meeting, please raise your hands.
Here in New York, we have Renee Sarmiento, Salimato Dumbuya, Dr. Alicea, and Mark Jerome voting in the affirmative.
Here, everyone is voting in the affirmative.
Okay. All right, this meeting is adjourned at now.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you all very much. Okay, all right.